A game that looks absolutely incredible, and I'm really excited to play it when it launches later in September, is Marvel's Avengers, guys. This is a game that looks like it could be really unique to that comic book type style video game. And most recently in my memory is, of course, Spider-Man. Playing that game was a lot of fun. But I want to talk about Marvel's Avengers and everything that we know so far about this game, because it looks like being able to play the different characters is going to be something pretty special. So let's talk about it. In an article, guys, that was written by Samuel Roberts and Morgan Park of PC Gamer, Marvel's Avengers has been a long time coming. 2 years after originally announced, Square Enix finally unveiled it at E3 2019. The developers at Crystal Dynamics, better known for Tomb Raider, will be tackling this particular superhero spin-off. Marvel's Avengers won't fit in with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Instead, Crystal Dynamics is telling a story that begins on celebratory A-Day and branches off with the usual explosions and collateral damage. Crystal Dynamics' take on Marvel is a third-person action-adventure game with QTEs and a smattering of RPG elements. So, when is the game coming out? So Square Enix originally announced a May 2020 date for Marvel's Avengers. It has since been delayed until September 4th, 2020 for PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Google Stadia. Now, what I will say about this, guys, is I'm really glad that this is a game that's coming on to PC, PS4, Xbox One, as well as Google Stadia. It's not going to be like Spider-Man that only came out on the PlayStation 4. So I'm excited about that. The other thing I'll say, guys, is that just another example of a AAA title that's been delayed. Like, it's almost like every single game that is a AAA title has been delayed at this point, and it just feels like this is becoming more of a recurring thing. And I've said this on multiple occasions. I think it's a real problem for the industry, and I really feel that it needs to be addressed at some point or another. So, obviously, guys, there's been a lot of course, like official reveal trailers and gameplay demos of the game, and just a lot of footage has been shown for the game, and what we've seen so far looks pretty awesome. Now, a couple of really cool things. Marvel's Avengers is going to have single player and 4-player co-op, so this sounds like more of a full package deal. Not only are you going to be able to play a single player experience, but you're also going to be able to do co-op. So from what we gather from Square's press release, Marvel's Avengers will have separate missions designed for single player and co-op. There will also be an extensive multiplayer component. Master extraordinary abilities, customize a growing roster of heroes, assemble into teams of up to 4 players, and defend the Earth from escalating threats, the press release reads. Featuring regular content updates, the game will take players on an epic journey delivered over multiple years. This is what's next for the Avengers. This makes us think it's probably going to be a Destiny-ish game with a lot of repeat play, but we'll know more about this leading up to release. It's interesting they brought up Destiny, but I feel like, I love that there's going to be a multiplayer component to this. I love that there's going to be co-op. I think that's going to be absolutely incredible. Playing this game with your friends, being able to take, the helm of some of these, iconic superheroes that we've grown to love from the cinematic universe. That being said, this actually kind of, I'm actually envisioning in my mind with certain characters, almost like a Control. The game Control, guys, really felt having different abilities and things of that nature in that game, and it was a single player experience, but I can see some of those things translating to something like the Avengers. And so Avengers, I think, guys, is going to be kind of maybe take some from Destiny, might take some stuff from Control, and maybe some other games, and it'll be kind of its own thing, but I'm really excited about this. This is something that makes me really excited that it's not just a single player experience. This is going to be something that we can experience for a long time, that be through co-op, through multiplayer, or playing the campaign multiple times through. So, Crystal Dynamics, creators of Tomb Raider, with Eidos Montreal, creators of the last two Deus Ex games, Crystal Northwest and Nexus Software. Considering the game has big plans for post-launch content and multiplayer, it makes sense that so many hands are on deck to make Avengers work. And a lot of that, guys, is a good thing, that you've got all these different, studios that are working on it. But when there's a lot of hands on a project, sometimes that isn't necessarily always a positive thing. Sometimes you can start seeing flaws within certain elements because, multiple hands are on it, right? There's not as much creative control for one studio or one developer. And that's one thing you just have to think about. Now, I think one thing that we're really excited about is that this is, of course, Marvel characters, but it's not necessarily in the MCU. So we've known for years that Marvel's The Avengers would have a unique story disconnected from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But now we know what that story will look like. Marvel's Avengers begins during A-Day, a celebratory day for the Avengers coinciding with the unveiling of their new headquarters and helicarrier. After a tragedy resulting in death and destruction, the Avengers are blamed for the incident. 5 years later, with all superheroes outlawed and the world in peril, the only hope is to reassemble Earth's mightiest heroes. And then Marvel made a big song and dance to the talent involved with the development of the Avengers game back in 2018 and cemented the point about a completely new and original story. That's when it was revealed that Sean Escape, who worked on Uncharted and The Last of Us games at Naughty Dog, will be the game's creative director, and that's pretty exciting. So what kind of game is this going to be, guys? At the end of the day, I think, like I was saying with the campaign, what I'm really excited about with this game is it's going to be its own thing. It's going to be separate from the MCU. They're kind of course, the same characters, but, different voice actors and things of that nature that are, kind of taking it a different direction. I mean, if you think about it, the MCU, as far as the Avengers, that story as a whole, after Endgame, pretty much is over, right? Now, obviously, they're making a Black Widow. They're making other movies within the MCU. But I love that they're not just trying to kind of cash out on some of the, obviously the nostalgia and all of just kind of taking the story right from Endgame and from the Avengers, of course, in the MCU. So I think it's really cool that it's going to be its own thing. And I think that's important for us to, kind of talk about, guys. So after the E3 2019 reveal, we have a good idea of what kind of game Marvel's Avengers will be. A continuously single-player and co-op third-person action-adventure game with what sound like a few RPG elements. You can master extraordinary abilities, customize your heroes to fit your playstyle, and combine powers. After all, which all sound kind of RPG-ish. We also know that you can unlock powerful skills and new gear to build your ideal version of Earth's mightiest heroes. Mention is also made of an ever-expanding world under constant threat. Could this be another entry on the growing list of living games? We'll have to wait and see. One thing that I would like to see, guys, is more of kind of like a semi-open world, or a full-blown open world would be incredible for something like this. I think it would be really interesting to be able to really experience more of this world, right, that the Avengers are kind of living in. I think that would be something that would be really neat, to say the least. And then, of course, guys, the combat. When Samuel went hands-on with Marvel's Avengers at E3 2019, his demo leaned on QTE, QuickTime Events. He thought it somewhat tarnished the more epic moments of gameplay, but Crystal Dynamics was clear in their reasons for that direction. For us, this audience is so broad. This isn't just some hardcore gamer's game. Matching buttons, prompts to specific actions is meant to remind players the controls in a natural way too. It's a way for us to integrate QTEs in a kind of tutorialized way. There are also cinematic moments we want to make sure land from a narrative perspective. So what's interesting about this is that other Marvel heroes will likely make cameos in this game. So Crystal Dynamics makes it seem like Marvel's Avengers won't be taking focus away from the 5 core heroes associated with the MCU's Avengers: Captain America, Iron Man, Black Widow, Thor, and the Hulk. But that doesn't mean other heroes won't make an appearance at some point. In fact, during Square Enix's E3 2019 conference, we got a taste of Hank him, the original Ant-Man and Scott Lang's mentor in the movies, testing out some sort of shrink cannon. And so that would be very interesting as well. And I think, guys, that I really am excited to play as Iron Man, because I think that his combat is going to be really cool. Playing as him or playing as Hulk and just smashing everything, I think that's something that those two would be a lot of fun. I also think even maybe using Hawkeye in the game would be kind of cool, with the bow and arrow and such. We'll have to just kind of wait and see. Now, Marvel's Avengers, the voice cast, guys, another, I mean, this really is an incredible voice cast. Crystal Dynamics brought in a pretty stellar grip of voice talent for Marvel's Avengers. From left to right, you have Troy Baker, did The Last of Us, 1,000 Other Things, as Bruce Banner. Jeff Skine, the Telltale's The Walking Dead, as Captain America. Travis Willington, Critical Role as Thor. Laura Bailey, Uncharted 4 in critical role as Black Panther, and then Nolan North, of course, guys, is probably the most popular of all these. He's playing as Tony Stark, or as Iron Man, and he's done, of course, Uncharted, Assassin's Creed, and so many other things. And that really leads me to, this is going to be a stellar cast, number one. But number two, I think that this is going to be a very it's kind of well thought out as far as a team is concerned, and I think they're gonna knock this out of the park with that. I truly do believe that. So, guys, there's obviously there's rumors that the Guardians of the Galaxy game is rumored to be in the works at Eidos Montreal. This has been something that has been kind of rumored about as well, which is actually quite interesting. While Eidos Montreal is helping with the Avengers game, the developer behind Shadow of the Tomb Raider and the recent Deus Ex games is also reported to be working on a Guardians of the Galaxy game. Kotaku reported this in January of 2017 when the Square Enix partnership with Marvel was announced, but no official announcement has been made about any games beyond Marvel's Avengers yet. So look, could we be getting a Guardians of the Galaxy shortly after a Marvel's Avengers? Are they going to try to do like a universe, as in like a Marvel's gaming universe, a MGU at this point? That would be really interesting. And who knows, guys? I mean, we've really never seen that before, where you're going to have like a full-blown gaming universe like what they could do with like Marvel's Avengers. We think about, on DC side, DC Comics obviously has made the Batman games, and those have been pretty popular. But man, if they started making a bunch of different types of Marvel games, it could be absolutely massive. But I would love to hear from you guys. What are you the most excited about with Marvel's Avengers, which is, of course, guys, a game that, going to be coming out later this year. And so there's a lot of hype building for it. I think there's a lot of pressure, of course, put on Square Enix regarding this, as well as a number of different, developers that are also working on this game as well. And so I think, though, from what we've heard, it looks like they're really in position to knock this thing out of the park. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about Marvel's Avengers. And for more Marvel's Avengers content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.